All right, welcome back to the Homestand Show. It's Vartanian with our guest host, the first ever guest host, Mikey Singh. Time to talk some CFL. 2023 season kicks off this Thursday. Calgary Stampeders at home to the BC Lions. Talking about the Bruins before the show. I got Boston on my mind. Let's bring in our next guest, Justin Dunk of 3 Down Nation. Justin, tons of storylines heading into this season. Is there one that really pops out to you?
There has to be one, and it seems like when you're talking in the CFL, my man, everything revolves around the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and it's Trevor Harris there, especially when he only played one drive in the preseason, went 4 for 4, 72 yards, and a touchdown pass to Darrell Walker, who he threw passes to in a previous team with the Edmonton Elks. So that is one of the major focuses for me. And the other one, to stick with the quarterbacks, has to be Bo-Levi Mitchell suiting up for the Hamilton Tiger Cats after over a decade with the Calgary Stampeders, 2 Grey Cups and 2 CFL Most Outstanding Player Awards that he doesn't really want to talk about because he's treating this as a completely new venture, joining the Tiger Cats. That, to me, those are the 2 top storylines going into the CFL season this year.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Bo-Levi Mitchell, one of the more interesting names in the CFL this season. Does he have enough left in the tank, you think, to really take over the reins with the Ticats there and really be the answer and the solution for them at quarterback? Can he lead them?
He can definitely lead them, but can he do it for an entire season on the field is a question, Michael, that's going to have to be answered by Bo-Levi Mitchell himself. He has a great arsenal of weapons there. James Butler, they brought over in free agency, paid him well over $100,000. That's big-time CFL money for people that don't know, to be the starting running back. They go out and get Duke Williams, who is of Buffalo Bills fame, who is coming off a down year after making some questionable decisions on and off the field with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And they have an up-and-comer, Tim White, who is electric and wasn't that far away from going to the Olympics for the United States in triple jump. So he's an Olympian level type of athlete there at receiver for Bo-Levi Mitchell to work with. So he's got some studs there, and they've invested in the offensive line to protect him as well, bringing in Joel Figueroa from the BC Lions last year, who protected that blind side for Nathan Rourke and helped Rourke sign a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think Mitchell will have the protection, the receivers, the weapons around him, also the offense built around him by Tommy Condell, but he's got to be able to prove that he can stay healthy for an entire season and get back to that MOP form. And now I know he wants to quiet or shut up or tell all the haters that they were stupid for ever doubting him, but he's got to do that on the field. I think he's been focused in the offseason and in training camp has earned the respect of his teammates. So I think he's going about it in the right way. But as you guys know, in sports, it's all about wins and losses, and that's what's going to determine whether or not it's a successful tenure with the Ticats for Bo-Levi Mitchell.
Yeah, Ticats, one of the favorites to win the Grey Cup, plus 450. Let's talk about the rivals, the Double Blue. Obviously, a huge hole at the QB spot with McLeod Bethel Thompson leaving. Now you got Chad Kelly. What are your expectations? Does Kelly have enough to take them back to the Grey Cup and potentially win this thing?
It's possible, and he came up clutch for them in the 109th Grey Cup when McLeod Bethel Thompson got hurt, and Kelly had to come into the game and had that big scramble on 2nd and long to get the Argos in a situation where they took the lead in that football game. But being the guy, the dude for any team in any sport is a different type of thing. And I think Chad Kelly's going about it the right way. I've been to Argos training camp multiple times when they held it at the University of Guelph, and Chad Kelly was in full equipment for practice. That wasn't something that many players were in. So he's approaching it the right way. I was at the Double Blue scrimmage. After that scrimmage was over, guys, he threw his towel to the side and he was running wind sprints the length of the field, or sorry, I should say the width of the field. So I've really seen quarterbacks do that too often. So Kelly's putting in the work where people can view it, and also based on people I've talked to around the team on the coaching staff and personnel side, he's putting in the work off of the field. So I hate cliches, guys, as you'll come to know, but he's doing all of the right things. That said, same thing with Bo-Levi Mitchell. We're going to judge Chad Kelly off wins and losses. He only has one career CFL start under his belt, only has one season of CFL experience to go from, but there's a lot of intriguing upside there. And I think the Argos are excited about that possibility, although it could go a number of different ways. I really like the Argos taking what is a rather unique approach in the CFL, going with somewhat of an untested player at the game's most important position.
Yeah, Argos 4th shortest odds this season heading into this one. Chad Kelly, decent showing in preseason in his third game. I don't know if he has enough left in the tank, but what I do know is absolutely everybody is going to be talking about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this season, and obviously for good reason. Do you think the Blue Bombers have what it takes to make it to 4 straight consecutive Grey Cups this year?
I do think they do, and they're unanimously the betting favorite at any sports book that you go to, and rightfully so. They have Zach Collaros, the 2-time defending most outstanding player in the league. He is right now the best player in the Canadian Football League, is very productive and efficient, even though he's dealt with all of these head injuries earlier in his career, has really come into his own and is the elite player in the league right now that I think teams have to worry about, especially on what they call off-schedule plays, right? Getting outside the pocket. I think that's where he really kills teams in terms of using his arm to throw the ball down the field when he extends those plays. But they got a lot of talented players that some people think could start to trend the other way because they're getting up there in age, or they could continue playing at a high level. And I think the way that they approach things with Mike O'Shea, their head coach, their Collaros at quarterback, and Adam Bighill leading the defense, it's a very veteran locker room, and I think they know that they have the talent to get back there again. Everybody in the West Division knows that you're going to have to go through Winnipeg to get to a Grey Cup, and rightfully so. They have the star power there to do it, and I think they have the actual talent still there as well, with Willie Jefferson on the defensive line and adding Kenny Lawler back to the mix. The Bombers are 2 for 2 when Lawler's on the team in terms of winning Grey Cups. When they get in that CFL championship game, he wasn't there last year. He was in Edmonton, so perhaps Lawler could be the missing piece.
And we're speaking to Justin Dunk of 3 Down Nation. Justin, I have to ask you, before we let you go, is there a dark horse? Is there a team you have your eye on that not many people are picking to go all the way that can get this thing done?
The one value team that I really do like is the Calgary Stampeders. It's not immense, crazy kind of value, but if you look at them, they're about in the middle of the pack in terms of Grey Cup odds, and they actually scored the most points in the entire CFL last season, and nobody's talking about it. And part of that was, yes, Bo-Levi Mitchell, but Jake Maier took over for him a little over midway through the season. And Maier, I think, is a real up-and-comer, very solid in terms of his mental approach. He's not up and down. He's kind of like a Ricky Ray, where if he throws a touchdown or an interception and you looked at him, you wouldn't know which had just come out of his hand. So I like Maier there. They have some weapons. Malik Henry is a guy that can get vertical real quick. Kadeem Carey might be the best running back in the league. Reggie Begelton, I think, is under the radar in terms of star receivers in this league. And they get arguably the best cover man in the league back and healthy in Trey Roberson after an NFL stint south of the border. So I really like the value on the Calgary Stampeders, and Dave Dickinson knows how to coach young quarterbacks, develop them, and most importantly, get them to the championship game and win it. He's done it with Bo-Levi Mitchell and others in the past, and I could see that possibility this season with the Stamps.
All right, well, you sold me. I got my bet. Stamps plus 600 to go all the way. Justin, we really appreciate you coming on and doing this, man. Thank you very much, and enjoy the season.
Sounds good, fellas. Thanks for having me on.
All right, thank you. That's Justin Dunk of 3 Down Nation. You taking the stamp 6-1?
I like it, man. I'm convinced. Listen to Justin, mate. I have to say, like, knowledgeable guests, and I've watched a lot of the Homestand Show. Justin's got to be right.
Oh, he's right up there. But don't lie. You don't watch a lot of Homestand Show. Come on, Mike.
You're on here. James is on here. Am I gonna miss a Homestand Show? Come on.
No, Justin, extremely knowledgeable. You guys got to follow him on Twitter. Make sure you check him out. Justin Dunk. Okay. We got a minute left in this segment, but coming up after the break, we're going to bring in Bobby Conway of Bet99. Play a little game we did last week called What Are the Odds? So I'm going to throw out a statement, and then you and Bobby are going to have to handicap it. I'll tease one right off the top. What are the odds? Mike Babcock will lose the dressing room in Columbus. Mike Babcock, not officially the head coach of the Blue Jackets. I think what's holding it up is that the Leafs still owe him until the end of June. So he's trying to get every single penny he can possibly get out of the Leafs before taking a job. But quickly, with about 30 seconds left, your thoughts on Babcock coming back to the NHL?
Yeah, I'll save my odds for when we come back. But Babcock coming back to the NHL, it was inevitable. I think it's a good opportunity for him to go to Columbus, a team that many see as maybe up and coming, but also a bit of a smaller market. So the spotlight isn't on Babcock. So Babcock has a resume. He's produced at pretty much every level he's been a head coach at. Obviously, some stuff at the end of his Leafs tenure didn't do him any favors, but I think it's a good job.
Yeah, no doubt he's a good coach, and we'll talk about that coming up after the break with Bobby Conway of Bet99.